Hey everyone, welcome back to the Indo Chef channel. Today we're doing something a little different. We are making some biscuits. I got this recipe from my friend's mom. It came about from a reiki healing session. She was getting certified for master level or something, I'm not sure. I had this healing session and then after she was like, oh, I made some biscuits, try these out. So she gave me this recipe. I've been running low on butter, so we're doing something a little different. We have this right here. This is some yummy bacon fat. The bacon fat's a little different than butter. Sometimes you don't get as much of a rise, but you get a nice bacon flavor. It's great, I love it. And we're starting off here with 3 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar, pop that in, 5 teaspoons of baking powder. Seems like a lot, but you want them to be nice and tall. We're getting fancy with some Himalayan pink salt here. Some people say salt to salt. Certain ones have different flavors. I think the only real difference with salt is when you get to the texture. Fine salt for McDonald's fries. This kind of salt for general purpose. Flaky salt for when you're being fancy and want that little bit of crunchiness on the top. We have our dry ingredients in there. We're gonna whisk that up just so everything's mixed in together. Our bacon fat. So this is about 3/4 cup, slightly more, slightly less. It doesn't really matter. All the bakers out there are all like, oh, blasphemy, baking is a science. So basically I got this by baking the bacon in the oven, pouring the drippings out as it would come and just setting aside. So this is with like full little bits and burnt ends and all that good stuff all together. So we have a dough cutter, pastry cutter, sometimes a potato masher. So we're just gonna work that right through until it's kind of the consistency of graham cracker meal. So we'll just show off some of this texture here to the above camera. I can't tell if it's in focus, it's really high. And I forgot to do something, we need to turn on our oven. 425 on convection, so that will adjust and convert to 400. So just basically it's 400 with the fan. So we have some chives. This came straight out of our garden here. I just chopped that up. So we're just gonna sprinkle that in. Some people like to put it in after, but I find once the wet goes in, you can never get it evenly distributed. So we'll mash that in a little bit more. Okay, so we'll kind of shove that aside for a little bit. I have 1 egg here. Get that nice and mixed. And then to this, we're gonna add 1 cup of milk. I go 3% milk for everything. That extra fat's good for flavor. My kids drink so much milk. They're little, so we go through so much. And we also have some aged cheddar. This is about 2 cups grated, so it's not measured before grating, measured after grating. And what I like to do is put half in initially, and then we're gonna use the other half for putting it on top. I like to mix it in with the dry a little bit, otherwise you get just clumps. Pour in that milk and egg. The old wooden spoon. It's a mixing instrument and a discipline instrument. If you're Asian, you know. So we're just gonna fold this all in together here. And we want it just so it's come together. If you over mix it, it'll get too gluteny, as they say. So it's coming out a little bit wet, so we're gonna add a little bit more flour. So let's go just like a 1/4 cup. Whenever you're baking, you'll find sometimes you need a bit more, a little less liquid. It's different every time. Right now, it's pretty hot outside. 38 degrees Celsius, because we're in Canada, so we're just gonna work this in some more. Now that's mostly come together, we're gonna shape the rest on the counter. And the squishing together, not really kneading it, just kind of clumping. So that's looking pretty good. A little bit loose on some spots, but that's okay. So we went to a garage sale recently and we found the ultimate treasure of treasures. We found this guy right here. Can you see it? There it is. So this is a marble rolling pin. And what's nice about these guys is they stay cold. So when you're doing pastries and biscuits and things where you need the butter to stay cold inside, it doesn't raise the temperature too much. So we're just gonna kind of mash that a little bit first. And we're checking to make sure we're not too deep, so we're about a knuckle, pinky knuckle worth on thickness here. If your biscuits are too short, they won't rise enough, and then you get too many for the one pan. So we're using this big guy right here. And on my test batch, without the chives and cheese, I actually had too many and I crowded the pan and it had some misshapen ones that weren't too good. We're using a regular biscuit cutter here. So you want to try and be efficient as possible and not leave too much excess. So let's fire these on the tray. You don't need to worry about greasing the cookie sheet here, just because there's so much fat in it. Between the cheese and the bacon, like you're not gonna stick. And being careful not to go too flat. So Yoshiko, if you're watching, I hope I hope I didn't ruin your recipe by doing this extra stuff in it like the bacon fat, but it's really good. I had a great base to start with your recipe. So we're gonna squeak out one more biscuit. So what you can also do is just get your biscuit cutter and then just squish the rest in the middle. So you'll have one that's a bit taller. So this one's a bit taller. No one's gonna know because you'll eat the evidence before they see it. Yeah, look at this monster. It's so much taller. Huge. So if you push your biscuits a little longer in the oven, the top will stay protected and not burn because the cheese is there. So we're just gonna put this on each of them just loosely, and that will melt into everything. Another fun little bonus is you get crunchy cheese crusties that fall off the sides. I know crusties don't sound like a very, very appetizing word. But these crusties are good, you'll like them. There is a great restaurant in Maui called Tasty Crust. As a diner, you don't want to think about eating crust, but they mean pie crust. They do homemade pies, and their fried chicken is phenomenal. So we're making a huge mess here, getting cheese all over the place. That one could use some more. It is the big one after all, so let's load that guy up. Almost looks like we're making nachos here. We'll put these guys in the oven, and once that's ready to go, set it for 10 minutes, sometimes 11. When you have that 13th biscuit, like this one here, you sometimes need to push it a little bit farther in time. Ah, there it is. Popping this in the oven at 425 convection. See you in 10 minutes. Oh, there's the timer. So let's go check out those biscuits. Give them a little poke. A little bit soft still. Let's give it another 2 or 3 minutes. So we want that cheese to be a nice golden brown, and we want the biscuits to be a little bit dark on the outside. I'm at about 80 subscribers, I think, right now. It's 920 short of being monetized on YouTube. So back to the Reiki session. I could definitely feel something with the heat of her hands. Like she would be like this far above my body. So call it chi, call it magic, magnetism, whatever you want. I think there's something there. Try it out. These are looking pretty good. So a little bit browner on the top. I don't want to push it too far because they will keep cooking on the tray. I'm gonna leave these on here for about 5 minutes or so to cool them a little bit, and then I'll move them on to a cooling rack. There you have it. Some nice biscuits. Looks good, huh? Oh, it smells awesome. It's good. So you can really taste the bacon flavor in there. The chives aren't too strong, but a little bit of oniony goodness there. And the cheese is what makes it. And big thanks to Yoshiko for teaching me this recipe. I think the real secret is the half cup of sugar. Sometimes you get biscuits, say like Popeyes. It's all salt. I love Popeyes, but their biscuits are too salty. These are much better, they're sweeter. I have a couple gear videos coming up. I recently got the Lumix Pro Services membership, and I'll talk all about that on my other channel, which is just my name, Curtis Zondag. Please give this a thumbs up and share this with your friends. See you next time. I tried to walk out of the shop, but it's really wide and I just got stuck right there. This time I'm going for real.